So as always, if you have any questions or anything that you'd like discussed, feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, we'll just see what comes up. For now, just let's take a breath and just soften your eyes so that they take in the whole room at once. I don't have my good microphone with me, so let me know if you're not able to hear me. Take in the whole room at once. Take it in with your eyes, with your ears. Be aware of the feelings on your skin. And let yourself really just arrive where you are. From here, just watch your breath. And when the mind comes in to ask you to hard focus on one thing, simply return to the breath. Just don't play with it. Tonight's going to be a shorter session because we're in the US and it's Thanksgiving here. But there's a teaching coming through. I think tonight we're going to let you kind of look under the hood a little bit at a primary mechanism of life. This world that we find ourselves in is a very challenging place. I don't know a lot of people who find it particularly easy to be here. That doesn't mean that everybody is miserable all the time, but the average human's life is, 90 to 99% suffering, even if it's not agony. It's a lot of time spent trying to manipulate the moment out of existence or change it into something else, which is usually the exact way to not accomplish a change. When you really wake up to the fact that you want a little more control over the moments that you live and how your life feels, and you start trying to make changes, And very few people actually reach that point in their lifetime where they really are willing to start acting on it. But everyone in this room, I think, is someone who's at least at that point. You start to realize that you're more stuck than you thought you were. That these changes that theoretically should come very easily don't come easily at all. They come in little bits and pieces after years of trying to let go. You'll have moments where somehow you let go of all of it and find yourself in a divine experience, and then the next day, for some reason, you just can't access that at all. The further you go, you start to realize that you're part of something bigger, and that bigger structure almost needs to provide some kind of permission for you to be able to really make some of the fundamental shifts. And that permission comes in many moments in your life, but you're not always ready for it when it comes. And so you start recognizing that those moments are really sacred and really special. And so you become somebody who is always kind of living up against the edge of your current limitation, so that when that moment comes, you can wrap your consciousness beyond the barrier that you had set. But the mechanism that's keeping you stuck is really simple. The truth is, you're not stuck at all. The only thing that's stuck is your attention. It's through your attention that you are trapped in this plane of existence. If your attention were freed, you could have access to the mess we're in now, as well as a million different variations of it, and the entire scope of reality that is beyond it. But your attention is trapped. How is your attention trapped? Well, you have a sensory body, and that sensory body has pains and emotions and feelings, and all of those things direct your attention back to the sensory body as an individual self. You start to identify with this body, and it makes you feel like you're separate from everybody else. It's trapped by stories that this body is engaged with. But again, it's really because those stories actually create sensations. And then they create fears of what you perceive to be an external environment and people in it. And so you start watching out for all of those people, which of course means you pull them out of the woodwork into your dream of life, and you see them everywhere. Through our attention, we become trapped in a world really of our own making. And it's a big game. It's bigger than just this life. You know, this life is special in that there's a block between this life and what you can remember of previous existences. And yet, what happened in those previous existences is they're absolutely a part of this life, and what kind of circumstances you find yourself in. And that's not a meritocracy. That's not, oh, you're a bad person, so bad things happen to you. It's nothing that simple. If it were that simple, you would have figured it all out by now. but wherever your attention has been placed habitually, places deep marks in your consciousness that kind of carry through past that memory barrier between lives and kind of gives you the thread to start pulling to build a world in this life. And, not all of those marks are created equal. So some of them are filled with suffering, some of them are filled with wealth. There's a million different ways to be a person. But the mechanism that is used throughout all of it is your attention. Where is your attention being placed? Now, connected to and directing your attention is your intellectual mind. How do you think about things? That's going to direct where your attention goes. When we look at things in life, we kind of build a case for the life in front of us. We build a case for why something is good or something is bad. We weigh the evidence, not always accurately. And through that, we solidify our understanding of the world around us. Evidence-based techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy use Socratic questioning to try and break that process down. We've talked about that a little bit before. Asking yourself, what is my evidence that this thing that's happening is as bad as I think it is? What's the evidence against it? And just kind of weighing it clearly and fairly. And in doing that, you can actually untangle little areas where your attention has been stuck. And when you do that, your life starts to change. They found that just doing that sort of stuff is literally as effective as medication for treating depression. And if you're doing both for a lot of people, that's going to be all the better. My point is not that you shouldn't take medication. My point is that there's tremendous power in untangling the things that's holding your attention in place. In this class, we untangle your attention in a different way. And we have many different ways that we do it. Often I'll tell you to slow way down to the speed of this moment. And in doing so, what we're really doing is we're removing your attention from whatever moment you're rushing towards, whatever you think needs to happen that has your attention. We're just kind of untangling that by having you let go of your sense of time. We have you let go of the things that happened during your day. Some of the things that really have your attention, we teach you heart training. Remember where we have you breathing in the suffering of it so that there's just no resistance to it at all, and exhaling an antidote. All of that just disentangles you from the object of your attention. So that you're free to shift your focus. Because when you shift your focus, you're released from the prison. And you can feel it. It's why you come back here. It's hard work. That's why so few of you come back here. But the ones who actually do the work come back here. because there's something there. It's undeniable. Everybody who does the work feels it for thousands of years. Then we come out of it, we go back to our lives, and all of our triggers, all of our remaining triggers get lit up again, and we feel trapped again, maybe in different ways than we felt a year ago. And you just kind of keep working to disentangle, disentangle, disentangle. But you have a practice that you do every day that is an ultimate just letting go of the entire knot. Understanding that you actually don't have to disentangle all of it in order to see beyond it. You can drop it all. The thing is, if you want to integrate into this prison in a way that doesn't feel like a prison, you have to disentangle the knots. You know, we've talked before about how many teachers go to the top of a mountain and attain their spiritual awakening, but then when they come back down the mountain, all of their buttons are still there, you know, and so they're just sucked back in. They steal from people still, they have sexual relations with their students, they, you know, all the things that you hear, all the gossip you hear about teachers online. So it's important that you learn how to put the whole knot down at will and have that experience so that you know what's real. But then in life, it's important that you are facing the tangles, showing up for them, desensitizing yourself to them, finding a way to be open in the face of them so that they can untangle. And using psychotherapy, whatever tool at your disposal. Whatever works is the rule. I had a teacher that when I first started working with her was pushing people into a leech-filled pond when she saw them caught up in one of their tangles, just to shock them out of it. She had a teacher that would push her face into the mud if she thought that she was stuck in something, just to get her attention off of it and to kind of put it into her body. Hey, this is what happens if you keep falling down that same pit. You guys don't have someone doing that to you. In some ways that's good, in some ways that's bad. But if you're attracted to a class like this, then you're probably far enough along that you don't need somebody to do that to you. You just need to find some resolve inside yourself that you're going to use every day to detangle more and more. That when you step out into life, it's not just to get lost in the machine again. It's to step out, eyes wide open, looking for the next stuck point for you to unravel. There are many paths that would tell you to just let go of all of it and just go live on the top of the mountain. But there's a beautiful, mystical path to learning how to bring the freedom of the mountain into the illusion. it makes you more useful to the people who are still stuck in the illusion. So this is one of those things that you have to kind of catch in yourself. Your attention's always somewhere. Where is your attention? Wherever your attention is, that's what you're living out. Is your attention split over several different things at once? Then you're half-heartedly, weakly involved with the life around you because you're split. Is your attention on making sure that someone doesn't do wrong by you? Then you're going to be in a world where your attention is building wrongdoing all around you. For me, one of my things is I always feel like I don't have enough time. It always just feels like there's so much to do and not enough time to do it. And when my attention goes there, life feels very tight. The prison feels very tight. In moments like that, I just remind myself that the consequences of not getting something done are not that dire. I ask myself, what evidence do I have that there's not enough time? Well, I've got this and this and this and this and this to do. Is there any evidence that there is enough time? Well, no one's actually told me when this thing has to be done by. Other people would take longer to do the same thing. Just because I, think someone needs to be pleased doesn't mean I actually have to please them. And suddenly the story just starts becoming, there's plenty of time. I'm going to keep working on it, but there's plenty of time. And it changes everything. When you can say that and mean it, it removes your attention off of a time limitation. And now that attention is actually free to fuse back with reality. It's free to actually fuse back with the meditative state. If you guys are taking a break from your Thanksgiving, maybe you have someone that you really don't like who's present. And maybe you have a story in your head that they're just a jerk. What evidence do you have? Well, they did this and this and this and this and this. Is there any evidence that they're not just a jerk? Well, is there any evidence that there's more to them than the thing you don't like? I don't know. I've never asked them. Well, is there any evidence that it's likely that there's more to them? Is there more to you than the things a certain person hasn't liked about you? and you just untangle and open up. And what it does is it removes your attention off that little thing that you're pinpoint focused on. And again, that frees you up. What I do with you in this classroom, those are the methods for what you can do in your life. To turn life into something closer to a meditation. So let's do that tonight. I want you to take something that's been bothering you. All right? Take a moment and just pick something that you've been obsessing over a little, or maybe a person that you are avoiding. And you can avoid anybody you want in your life. This is not about like, oh, no, you should have anyone in your life. That's not true. There can be one thing about a person that makes them unsuitable to be in your life in any meaningful way. But that person should not live in your heart and in your mind as if they're just that one thing you don't like about them. Because that's not reality. And all that will do is bring more people like that into your life. So find something and place it on the screen of your mind. Verbalize to yourself. In your head is fine. What you actually think about that person or situation. What's wrong with it? What's bad about it? What's so unacceptable about it? And now ask yourself, why is that a problem? What does it mean that that's allowed to exist in life? If that it's a problem because if that exists, then that means what? You have to kind of get to the core issue for you. If that's allowed to exist in life, that means what? And if you allow that to exist in your space, what does that mean about you? What are you worried that means about you or your life? That I'm not good enough? That I can't trust the world around me? What does it mean about you? That I'm unlovable, unworthy? That I'll never get somewhere? That I'm unworthy of being treated well? What does it mean? That I'm less than? That should get you to the core. Now, What evidence do you have that that's true? Why do you think that? And be honest. Well, these people treat me this way. No one stands up for me when they do. What is your evidence for it? I failed at this or that. I fell short in this way. You've been living with a filter that has built a case out of that evidence. So to untangle your attention, we have to actually reach around the filter. And so what you're going to do next is you're going to say, what evidence do I have that that's not true about me? Have you ever done something right? Has anyone ever said the opposite about you? Are you actively trying to do better? Really open up. What evidence do I have that it's not true? Is there any evidence that this is actually, that this person or this situation is actually a good thing in your life? Has the force against you provided a way for you to strengthen yourself or learn more about people? Some of the biggest pains I'm dealing with now are the things that have actually turned me into an adult over the last 10 years. I'd love to get away from them, and yet I can't deny I don't know how I would have gotten here any other way. What evidence do you have that the situation actually has some benefits? What evidence do you have that that core feeling you have about yourself is not true? Is it maybe just true of a little part of you, but there's a lot more to you than that? This is the kind of work you need to do if you're not going to just hide on the top of a mountain. This is the work that stabilizes your spiritual realization in the actual world. Are there any questions about that? Is anyone lost? This kind of work will bring you to a place where you're less reactive. which means when someone says, shift your attention to this moment, you can really do it because there's nothing there pulling you away from this moment. And the more time you spend here, the more your body will kind of fill up with power and charge. And the more you do it, the more you can do. When you're successful untangling one or two of these knots consciously, untangling 3 or 4 becomes that much easier. Eventually, your whole life is just unraveling your way out of this prison. Out of this thing that's supposed to feel good but somehow doesn't. All these things you feel like you need to go do that are supposed to feel good but never really do. If anybody wants to go deeper into that, the technique is called Socratic questioning. It's from the work of Socrates, utilized in cognitive behavioral therapy. But it's an old technique. It just helps you take an objective view of life when you're stuck in a subjective obsession with one little component of life. Is it some ancient Buddhist technique? No. We use it because it works. Whatever works, that's the rule. All right, let's take a little time and just go into meditation. Attention at the forehead and crown. Let go of your day. And just begin to breathe. There's nothing else to do. So let easy things be easy. And just breathe. Breathe and nothing else. Notice where your attention is stuck and liberate it. Even if just for a couple of minutes. One minute at a time. Just be here breathing. So this week, I want you to do something really specific. I want you to take out a piece of paper or get on your computer, and I want you to think about the biggest things attracting your attention. All right? The parts of the prison that are most prominent. Some of them will be in your physical body. There'll be different pains. Some of them will be storylines, people in your life, interactions. And I want you to directly work on them. Work on untangling yourself. And then go into meditation. For your physical body, you can stretch. You can go see a chiropractor. You can go see a massage therapist. Or you can take time and just do the things for your body that you know you need to do, but you're not doing. That way you're not going to be as stuck on the lowest levels of your physical body. And then I want you to go into the stories, and I want you to work with that Socratic questioning. Just real simple. Get to the core of it. Why is it a problem? And if that's true, what do I think that means about me? And then do some reality testing on it. Is it true? How true is it? Is it always true? When is it not true? Is it more complicated than the kind of binary logic my inner child is using to assess the situation? What evidence do I have that it's not true? And just start untangling. You can journal. That is a good way to do that. But you need to learn how to do it on the fly too. But get proactive. Pick 3 big things that you're going to unravel and liberate your attention from this week. And just flip and do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Go there. Wholeheartedly go there. Push yourself right up against the edge of that boundary. And just work the knot until it untangles. Any questions about that before we end for the night? We're going to cut it a little short tonight. Really just about 5 minutes. All right, everybody. I'll be back next Thursday. I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and good luck this week. Bye.
Oh.